Welcome to this look at a new map on Farming Simulator 19 with me, MrSealyp. This is Fazenda BACURI or BACURI Farm 2K21. Kind of ironic really that it took me almost 2 weeks to do the Porto Barinha Farm map tour, which I did yesterday. And then this drops. Never mind. This is by Lostgamer. It is 147.13 megabytes to download. If you go onto the map, it looks a little bit. It looks like this. It's interesting because lots of people are always saying, when are we going to get more big American maps? Well, this is a big South American map. The fields are huge. I'm on New Farmer, normal economy, as I always do my map tour. And what do we start with? Well, this is a kind of interesting one too. You don't start with anything. You don't start with any land, although you do start here at this farm with some equipment and machinery, but you don't actually own the land you start on, which is a bit peculiar, and it's not cheap. That plot's 830 grand. So, and that's the same on all three. The slot count is 500 out of 1299. That's the same on New Farmer, Farm Manager and Start from Scratch. So it's 500. We can get the slot count down when we get on to looking at the vehicles and machinery. We'll look at that. Field prices, as you might imagine then, are fairly pricey. And that's the thing about this map, I'm thinking, is it's not one you can kind of gradually build up. Because if you come on New Farmer and you've got 100,000 and you don't own a field, how are you supposed to get the ball rolling? Because none of these fields are 100,000. I mean, 4,108,000. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how. I don't know if that's an error or I don't know. In all honesty, I thought you would at least start with field 1, which is grass, and maybe you could do some silage bales or something like that. But anyway, that's the map. There are contracts available. We do start here. And if I back up, this is slightly odd as well. If you come right up to the front door and press L3, nothing happens. If we back away a little bit and press L3, the trigger is just away from it. The sleep trigger is fixed in place, and it's here on all 3 game modes, I think it is. This house can't be sold, so it is fixed in place. We've got a pickup, and the yard is massive. The equipment is sort of spread around the yard. That silo is a 3 million litre multi-silo-ish. It doesn't take quite everything, but not far off. 3 million litres. It doesn't say whether it's seasons ready or precision farming, like custom ready. Let's jump in the pickup. What was I going to talk about? Yeah, sleep trigger is fixed in place. No land owned, I've covered that. Right, let's go around. Now, there are no custom mods either. The map maker, hasn't put any mods in buildings or anything like that. We'll go around as we get to the first bits of equipment. Yeah, 3 million. I mean, it's big fields, so you're going to be getting some fairly large crops off those fields, or yields anyway. Now, tucked around here, we've got some of our machinery. I think we have got lighting over here as well. Let's click that on so we can see a little bit better. Oh, there's probably on this side as well, isn't there? Of course there is. So, start equipment. We start with some big-ish stuff, actually. So, as I said, 500. We've got an Armour Track 1104, a K7250 Pro. While I'm saying this as well, as we go through, you'll notice that at the bottom, that same repair. Some of the equipment, although it's saying 0 days owned, some of it is in quite a poor state of repair and needs, I think it's like down to 9%, and does need a bit of repair work. We've got a John Deere S790, the pickup, Joskin Transpace 8000, big 645 FD header, 13.7 metre for the John Deere. Got Horse Pronto 9, fertiliser and herbicide sprayer, water tank, and then we've got some front loader gear and a weight. No buildings, nothing like that. So whilst the machinery is large, there's not a huge amount of it. I think that's probably the best way of putting that. I'm going to leave those lights on. I'll come back and do those in a little while. Let's carry on around the yard. We do start, well, I say we do start with, although this is our start farm, we don't own the land. We do have on this plot of land chickens, which are just here. There are 400 chickens, or you can have 400 chickens. There's your dialogue box. And they will wander off all around the yard very happily. Feed trigger's there, and our egg box spawn point is there. We'll carry on a little bit further forward. And of all the buildings we start with, this one's closed, and this has got some more. Like I say, in all four corners of the yard, we've got some bits. That's where we've got our case and the pronto and the sprayer. Now, as we move up the yard, we've got this big cow pasture out here. Accessing the cow pasture is done here, and all the triggers and everything are really well marked. I do like the grass texture on this. It's that kind of arid, you know, slightly dried out brown, you know, as you can see, brown looking grass. So water, there is a water point. Actually, I might as well just go up there. There are four water points around the map. They're all marked very clearly, as you can see, with the water droplet. We've got a water point just tucked in there. Our milk point, our feed point is all clearly labelled just here. And then we have got a trough just in from the water point for our water, just there. Now, as far as putting the animals in and taking them out again, if you're going to do it yourself, actually, I better close the gate, I guess. Not that I've got any animals in here. There's the path. It's done from here. This will hold 200 cows. I'll go off in there very happily. More barn and I say barn buildings. They're not really. They're huge, huge buildings. Plenty of room. Oh, the chickens do go far and wide. I must admit, I didn't expect them to go this far. That's going to be something to avoid with your machinery. But as you can tell, the size of the yard, the size of the fields, you will get away. Blimey, they're all up here. You'll get away with massive machinery. Now at this end, we've got in the field, although we can access the slurry from here, manure point is there for the cows. Here, when we go up, if we put the help menu on, we've got abrir, open, and fechar, I think it is, fechar, close. That's for that big grass field there, field 1. And we've got the last couple of bits of machinery that we start with just here. That's the yard. Slightly bigger prospect than some I've covered in the past. So there shouldn't be any complaints of people saying, it's a really tight yard, I can't move machinery around. You shouldn't have too much of a problem. So, let's go out onto the main road. We're going to go, I think, clockwise round. Yeah. Why not? Now, we do have some extra crops. We have sorghum and we have, I think it's carioca, is it? Carioca beans, which are pinto beans. Those are in addition to, so carioca beans. They are planted or seeded with either seeders or planters. So it doesn't matter which, each will plant the extra crop types, the sorghum and the carioca beans. And both are harvested using a regular harvester header. So there's no additional equipment or anything needed for doing those. You just use the regular seeders and planters and harvester headers. And as you can see by how far we're going, the fields are huge. So, turning into the first of our sale points. Actually, I think it's under the livestock market first. We're going to go into the livestock market. All the facilities are large, tons of room for moving around. I don't know, actually let's just double check. Can we buy these plots? I'm just thinking for placeables and things. Oh, you can. We can buy all these plots separately. So if you wanted to add placeables potentially, like I'm not guaranteeing that you will be able to. Livestock market is just here. And the first of our actual sale points, which is the Lizard Filial 2, I think it is. It's just through here. There's a lot of very large buildings you can't access. I mean, for all intents and purposes, pretty much the same as it was on Porto Barinha, that huge complex. You've got all these big facility. I mean, the sale point itself is just this bit over here, really, but it kind of adds the whole, you know, the scale of it all. It makes it feel like it's a, you know, it's a big thing going on, you know. Farming on a large scale. Now, you can go all the way around that way if you want to, but I don't know why you would, because you can turn this way. From here, we're going to head to Supreme Milk. And we're going to go up the western side of the map. all the sell points are pretty much, I think, on the northern part of the map. I don't think we've got any sell points to the south. No. And all pretty much around the outside as well, which gives you plenty of space for these large fields. I mean, I can't imagine, when I said contracts are available, let's go across, where are we? Harvesting, 90 grand, 36 grand, fertilising, 32 grand. They're big fields, you know. Contract work's going to pay out quite well. And if you're doing the contract work on harvesting, because you usually, most of the time, get crop left over, you're going to do pretty well out of these. Although they are going to take some time. Sort of map that I think possibly multiplayer, like I did on Stone Valley, doing it on your own, can take some time. Supreme Milk is just here. This is dairy sale point. And then we're going to head round and head north up to, I think it's the store next, the main shop. I think it is, yeah. Now again, this being a Brazilian map, it's interesting that again, this is what we're on to now, 4th or 5th Brazilian map we've had. Completely different look and feel to the ones we've had before. We haven't got those kind of ridged, tiered fields. It's not incredibly hilly, and the fields are huge on here. Like I say, it feels like the big American maps that people like to get. What I also like is the store point, because the store itself is a very familiar looking building. We've seen it before on quite a few maps. Was it Westbridge Hills this was first used, or was it used before that? I'm not too sure. But what I like about it, it's been changed a little bit. It seems much more light and airy than the previous versions we've come across. Well, I think it does. It just seems, I don't know, far more open. So this is your store. Your repair, customise, sell point is round here under the shelter, just there. And interestingly, on this map, this is not the reset point. If you have to reset anything for any particular reason, whatever it might be, and because it does it this way around, I can see why people would. It actually resets back to the main farmyard. So on one of the parts of the main farmyard is where your vehicles and machinery will reset to. So that can make life a little bit easier if you don't feel like, especially if you buy a load of equipment, if you don't want to transport it all yourself, you can then simulate it being delivered by the company if you want to. So coming around here, we've got a little bit of a built-up area with a bit of accommodation, and we've got another sell point, which is, if again, if my translation is correct. So, Mercadinho BACURI. Mercadinho, I think, is little shopkeeper or little shop. It's to the side there, which it is. It's a kind of small shop, small store for the built-up area just here for the housing. And then moving on, we're going to go across the top of the map if my mouth decides to work. Bit of a drive while we're going. If I don't hit anything, actually I'll go on the grass, I think. Just look down my list, hope I haven't missed anything. Don't think so. Reset point. Oh yeah, when I said about the equipment and machinery we start with, if you sell all of the equipment and machinery, so the slot count on all 3 modes is 500. If you sell all the equipment and machinery, you can get it down to 347. So if you want to start with your own gear, if you don't want to have John Deere stuff or whatever it might be, you can get it down to 347 on here. If we come across the large open space here, nice decorative water feature in the middle there. Around to the side, we have got the cotton lizard sell point, which is your wool and cotton, which is that one just there. And then we've got lizard fardos, which is bales. So, spinnery sell point for all intents and purposes, and bale sell point just there. And next to the large sell points, we have got the lizard agro-industrial sell point, We'll go this way, it'll be a little bit easier. Another vast complex. And the sell point is just round the back here. Now there's no way to get back out onto the main road off in that direction. We have to go back around the way we came. I think it's supposed to come in this way because that's where the weighbridge is, but don't necessarily have to. It's entirely up to you what way you want to go. So from here we're going to head across the top to the northeast corner of the map, where we have got it's a mine. It's a lime mine / lime quarry. And what I like, it says limestone mine where you can pick up your favourite truck or trailer. There is a challenge ahead. Now as far as I can tell, you'll see when we get there, it's a fantastic, I love it. It looks great. The road is incredibly bumpy, and at parts the camber of the road leans in towards the quarry. It's going to be interesting getting lorries in and out. I think that's what it means when it says it's a challenge. I couldn't work out, unless when you buy lime something happens. There's a cave in or something. The road collapses, I don't know. I don't think we'll go all the way down into there, but... So, Mina de Calcario, which is limestone. So, as we go around, this is one of those, see what I mean about being bumpy? This is absolutely nuts. It's that kind of, as you kind of drive over, it's really cool. Now we have had this, again my mind has gone blank as to the map, but we spiral all the way around, come down to the bottom. It was a Brazilian one. We've had one again. It was up in the, I'm trying to think of the map, it was northwest corner, but you came up to it into that corner, I think, if I recall correctly. We go all the way down to the bottom, and in the bottom there you've got your line point, which is just over there, and you swing back around and come back out again up the bumpy road. And it is, see the bumps and dips, and you can quite tell there. And there's a bit here as you go around that kind of cambers in towards the middle of the pit, so it's going to be interesting getting in and out of there. But that's your lime quarry. So from here we're now heading down the eastern side of the map. Actually, you know what I haven't done for a while, which I usually do? We started here at the main farm. We went up and out. Animal dealer, Lizard Filial 2, sell point, Supreme Milk, up past the petrol station to the main shop. The Mercadinho Bacuri, across the top. We did Cotton Lizard, Lizard Fardos, then we did Lizard Agro Industrial. Then we came back out all the way along. We are at the lime station, lime mine / quarry. We're going to head down, biogas plant. Now, interestingly, when we get, well, I'll explain when we get to biogas plant. I say interestingly, what I'll often do when there's a biogas plant that you don't own off the start, I don't always come on to check out for a map tour. I don't always come on here with government subsidy signs, or here, I say any map I do. Generally speaking, I'll just borrow what I need to buy it, so I can check and see what kind of biogas plant it is, what the prices are like, and whether it takes any additional crop types, or whether it's just a standard biogas plant. With this one, not quite as easy. I probably should have come on here with government subsidy signs, because the biogas plant, wait for it, is 1,115,136. So along with the rather expensive fields and that kind of thing, the biogas plant is no different. You're either going to have to put money in at the start if you want it, or it's going to be something you're going to build up to get, but it's fairly pricey. But again, everything's well labelled. You know, you can't really go wrong. That's where you're going to put in. It's got the tip logo there. That's where you collect your byproducts from. More barn and building space. 2 large silage clamps. And then we head down the road to the last, I think, last of the sell points, yeah. Oh no, we've got two, sorry. Sawmill first. So, Madeira Jacaranda. Jacaranda is rosewood. So it's rosewood timber, or timber rosewood. The lumber sale point is just through here. You can see it directly ahead. The wood chip sale point is round to the side. And now we're heading to the last of the sale points, which is Pioneer. And there, from there, it's a straight shot back across the middle of the map, back towards the main farm. There's a, interestingly, fairly flat. I mean, we got some, you can see the kind of rise over in the distance. We've got this rise here. There is a bit of forestry because we've got the sawmill. There's a few trees there. There's a bit of forestry in the middle. There's not a huge amount on the map. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's designed to be a forestry map per se. There's enough there to have a go if you want to. But there's nothing to stop you from planting trees all over a field if you want to. So, into the Pioneer sale point. Another large facility. Across the weighbridge. Now the weighbridges on these, I was meant to say earlier, are fairly narrow. If you're hauling a trailer with a tractor, especially if you've got twins on it or something like that, you may struggle. So it may be you're going to want to haul either with standard tyres or with lorries, semis, that kind of thing. Sale point's just through here. Again, huge buildings. And as we cut back round onto the main road, back towards the farm. And that is Fazenda BACURI. BACURI Farm 2K21 by Lostgamer. Before we head out onto the main road, I will just double check. I did mention the fact we don't start with any land. Sleep trigger is fixed. We've come down to there, Pioneer, onto the main road, like I say, straight shot across, and we come back to the farm. And yes, I don't know if it was intended. I don't know if it will get an update so you do start with some land. I don't know whether it will or not, or whether that's part of the challenge. But it's one of those ones I don't know how. On most maps, you can kind of see there's a progression of field sizes, and you can start off with a smallish one, or you start off with a smallish one. And when I say smallish, on a map this size, generally speaking, it would be a fair size one. And it's a bit of a kind of turn the gear, make a bit of money till you build up to the next big field. But if you don't start with a field in the first place, I'm not quite sure how you're supposed to get going. But that being said, that's the map. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, please give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.